This is Gabrielle Galarza, and just so you know, we are interviewing this. And then, could y'all go around and introduce yourselves?
Bene Torbert.
Gwendolyn Torbert Tinsley.
Doris Torbert Hutchinson.
Cary Torbert Jr.
You mentioned earlier about the freedom of choice thing that was passed. Can you give us like a little bit more in-depth thing of like how that changed, kind of like relationships with other students that were going to like Drake, and then they decided to go to Auburn High School?
Well, one thing about it, when they had freedom of choice, some of my classmates went to Auburn, a few of them and stuff. But see, we still was such a close knit community. We still went to church together, and we still, went to movies together. We still participated in everything because everybody in Auburn practically grew up together. So it didn't really affect us that much.
I know Gwen said that she.
Now,
They was fully integrated when Gwen.
when I went, it was fully integrated. I mean, they had already did. I wasn't part of the freedom of choice type thing. Graduated in 71. Okay. And this happened, what, 60 something?
67.
Yeah, somewhere like that, where they had a choice of whether they was going to Drake or they was going to go to Auburn. Okay. It was already integrated when I went to Auburn.
Okay.
And it's halfway funny because when we went to Auburn, okay, we had 2 class president, 2 class secretary, 2 class, because you had to have a black one and a white one.
That was still like
segregated,
wasn't it?
It was kind of like that, but see, how was you going to do it? Because see, if all of them had been white students, then of course we go to protest against that. And all of them had been black students, the white was going to say, that's not going to work. So we had 2, because I was a class secretary. I was one of them. But I can't remember I can't remember her name, but this other white girl, she was a secretary, Sometimes we got together, sometimes we didn't. It was interesting, and of course, the guys, they played the football and they,
Some of them could.
Yeah, some of them could and stuff like that.
And some of them was too old to play.
That's it. Oh, yeah.
So they were too old
to play. And so it's still, even though it was integrated, it took us a while to really get to know each other. You know what I mean?
Together.
And be comfortable with each other. Because you still had your little group because, okay, say I'm hanging out with Bonnie, okay? I don't know if I want to hang out with Sally Sue. So it still was a kind of if thing. So it gradually came along. There's some guys that I had, they super, okay? But it took us a while to even get to know each other, like I said, because it was newly integrated,
And I graduated. I had enough credits, so I just went half a year and came on out.
So
Got it out the way.
that's it. So it was interesting during that
So I was
period of
there
time.
once.
Was there any violence or resistance or
You
anything?
know what? Believe it or not, even though you had the white and the black, they might have little snark remarks and stuff like that, but I don't remember any violence. I don't know whether each side would say, well, we're not going to, whatever it is, but of course you had that look that, okay, you mess with me, I'm going to get you. You know what I mean? But I don't remember any violence during that time.
How did they do the homecoming queen? Did y'all do that?
You know what, we had to too, didn't it?
Yeah, it took a couple of years.
Yeah, because
Beverly Perry was the first one.
Well, Pat, they was in the homecoming court though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pat Eccles in the homecoming
Yes,
court.
in the court.
Yeah, because
Beverly Perry was the first black homecoming queen.
and I think that wasn't our year though.
That was 72,
the 72
the year
year,
after
and that was
we
the year
left.
after us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So eventually, like I said, it wasn't a violent. Everybody basically stayed on. Say we're in a classroom, right? Basically, you had this side over here. Everybody was on this side. But it took a few months for it to kind of mix up that together. Okay? Because I'll be honest with you, I was literally, jeez, I can't even talk, about approaching some of them, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, now, because if she gets snobbish, I'm going to have something smart to say. So I'm not sure if I should approach her or not. And I found out that the same way a couple of them that I did start hanging out with were feeling the same way. You know, because they wanted to approach me, but they didn't know how to, you know, this, like I said, this is new. We didn't know how to really do this thing. But we made it. And I was graduating in 71. Long time ago.
So before integration, did you have white friends, or was that like your first time?
Believe it or
friends
not, I
with them?
mean,
the
I
first time.
knew some of them, but that don't mean we were friends. Yeah,
I didn't
because
know anybody.
we went to
I
Drake.
I stayed over here on the west side.
Yeah.
They stayed over
And
there.
unfortunately,
I take
being the
that
babe
back.
of the family, it wasn't like I could just go out and whatever it is, you know. So, you know, I never had any problem with speaking to any of them or whatever it is, but we just didn't have no interaction together, you know. It's not like they gonna come over here to the rec and hang out with us, and we wasn't going over to their rec and hang out with them. You know, so
The only time I ever had any contact with any whites was that when the fraternity used to take about 10 boys over to the, what you call Stink Creek, and put them out and tell them to walk back to campus, and they end up at our house because we had on the telephone, and so they can call somebody to come get them. Back in the day, that's one of the fraternities. I don't know why, but they used to take everybody up downtown.
Stupid stuff.
We called Ridge Grove Road then, to a little bridge over there where the school at now.
Y'all for school.
And there used to be a creek ran through there that came from Opelika that had dye in it that smelled like I don't know
Yeah.
what. I mean, like rotten eggs.
yeah.
And they'd put them out there and then tell them to walk back. And the joke was that they had to come back to the black neighborhood to get to the campus and stuff like that. So,
We wasn't like nobody around here was gonna mess with them. They were just gonna watch them and say, "What are these fools doing?"
Maybe laugh out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
did y'all know that Auburn had a prison camp over there close on campus?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, they had a prison camp at Road
Camp
Road
Auburn.
The German?
No, state prison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Baptist.
Matter of fact, the black prison camp said right over there where the I'm trying to think. Best way to tell you where it was. No, the new Auburn Technology part of it over there behind the School of Nursing and stuff back up in there.
Back up in there.
Back up in there. But once in a while they'll escape, and then when everybody gets scared.
That's where a lot of parents could control you. All right,
Yeah.
the prisoners over there, you scared of convicts. So you,
Oh,
cause
yeah.
you supposed to
Yeah.
be bad people. The convict out, so you know you gonna stay close to home. You gonna be real good. Stay close to home.
You know, but
They had a way to control us to make us stay in line.
go ahead. I know y'all got a bunch of questions.
Okay, cause we get off the
Y'all
subject.
fine. I was gonna ask if you could elaborate on you were the first deputy sheriff in Auburn. Could you tell us a little bit?
In Lee County,
Lee
Lee County Sheriff
Could you
Department.
tell us a little bit about that experience?
Well, in 1971, October 1st, 1971, I was hired by James C. Pearson, who was the sheriff at the time, to become the first black deputy for Lee County. Matter of fact, they had 3 black officers in Opelika, and they had 2 in Auburn, but none at the sheriff's department. So I started working. The first day I went to work, the chief deputy came in and said, "You have a weapon?" I said, "Nope." He said, "Well, get in the car." So he took me over to his apartment, went in the house, came out with a 45 with pearl handles. I said,
Freak.
I walk around here with a 45 with a pearl handle. I don't know. Well, Then they ordered me a weapon, so I got my weapon and stuff.
And you never fired it.
No, yeah, I fired that thing. They had to go to the range.
I'm talking about ex about it.
No,
Oh, God,
in my
no.
50-something years in law enforcement, even in the military, everything, I never fired my weapon at anybody. I had a gift of mouth. I've been
You
in some
talk to
problems.
folks.
Yeah.
Nah,
And people still
amazing.
talk about it.
6 months after I went to work there, my 7th grade teacher became a reserve deputy. He was the first black reserve deputy we had. He was in my 7th grade teacher, a man named C.J. Wright.
Mr. Wright.
Mr. Wright.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm riding giving orders to my 7th grade teacher. So
But I'm quite sure he had some experience being a black man with the in the county.
I guess I've
Mr.
been
Wright
there
from
about 2
Tuskegee.
days, and the chief investigator at the time came out with a book. He said, turned to a page, said, "You know this fellow right here?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Parade without a permit in Opelika, 1960 whatever, $17.50. Remember they said Cary Torbert Jr.? You know, he's trying to be smart, you know. Just gonna, they had a picture of everybody who's been arrested in Opelika in this book, right? And my picture happened to be in there. So he had found it and gonna show it to everybody that I've been arrested. And I said, and
Teenager.
the sheriff told us, he went and asked the sheriff, "Did you know this?" He said, "Yeah, it's on his application." So I put on my application that I've been arrested in Opelika without a permit, $17.50 fine.
He didn't want him.
We, back then, they had what they called shot houses. First assignment I had was to go buy liquor from some black folks in Marvin, Alabama.
I remember that.
All this time now, nobody went down there, but all of a sudden I'm black, so they sent me down there about to have a guy named Health Man and another lady named Miss Cary. I go down there and buy liquor from them. Fine. They end up arresting them.
So that's untaxed whiskey, so they could get arrested.
And they called my granddad. My granddad lived in Marvin, right? So there was not in Marvin, so they called my granddad and told my granddad that your son had us arrested, your grandson had us arrested. So my granddad had called and said, "Junior, let me tell you now, don't alienate these folks down here now, because they're going to be the one that help you." I said, "Yes, sir." So that's the last time I bought liquor. But 6 months later, we hired another black deputy. So they sent him down there. He go down there and buy from the same lady that I had bought it from. 2 months later, me and him both sitting up at East Alabama having our appendix removed. And the thing about it, this lady had the reputation of being somebody that put spells on folks.
It's a voodoo.
So they had put out that me and my partner had been voodooed by this woman, you know. And that's when we were sitting up there, both of us had our appendix taken out at the same time. So, the thing about it,
They said they wasn't gonna arrest her. Y'all said y'all wasn't gonna arrest her no more.
yeah, we didn't either.
You scared of us?
She scared y'all.
But the thing about it though is that one of the calls I received was I got called up on the backwater on 29, a place called Kelly's Beer Joint. It's all white, and I'm in the car by myself. I get a call about 2 guys fighting. I get that in the parking lot fighting. And back then I was kind of like healthy old fella, you know. So I ended up arresting both of them, bring them to the office. And by the time I got there, the chief deputy pulled up behind me. He said, "You know, bro," he always said, bro, I had your back, but I was just going to see if you're going to treat them the same way you treat blacks.
Oh, Lord.
He would park down in the next parking lot watching me to see how I was going to react toward them. And he said, "Well, you're going to be all right then. I don't have any problem with you. You're going to be all right." So after that, one of the things we had to do was go out and make drug buys and stuff like that. And back then, if you had a joint, we had a judge that would sentence you to 15 years. I don't care what.
That was good time, wasn't it?
Yeah, 15. You got 15 years. Me and the sheriff went to stake out a park across from Cary School one day. And this young white fellow get out the car, he goes and pick up this bag, put it up, and we pull him over. And marijuana. So we went to court. I wasn't thinking nothing of it, so I probably looked up, probably get probation or something, you know, no white kids, you know, and stuff. And Judge Town, when they got through testifying, I testified, the sheriff testified, got through, and Judge said, I'm sentencing you to 15 years. That boy knees buckle, my knees buckle. I
know that. When that kid is like,
you know, 15 years. But
State
back
prison.
then, though, if you had any type of drugs, Judge Town was the only judge in town, and he was going to sentence you to 15 years. The only person that got less sentence than 15 years was the son of the Attorney General of Puerto Rico and Congressman Bill Nicholson, who got caught at Auburn, and they got 10 years but got probation. And the only reason they got that because for some reason politics got involved in it, and I found out later on that the chief deputy, the sheriff, and everybody went over there and begged them not to sentence them to 15 years and all that. So during the period of time that I was at the sheriff's department, I was promoted to a lieutenant after I'd been there for around about 4 years. And the reason I got promoted to lieutenant because another lieutenant that was in the position was politicking against the sheriff during the election. And back then, the sheriff could fire you no matter what. You know, if you politic against him, you weren't going to be there. So he won the election so that he fired him. And everybody thought it was a joke. And they got a call, they said, Lieutenant Torbert, you want me to handle that? And I thought, these jokers playing games. And so they kept playing the game, so I said, I'd go along with them. So they started telling me, Lieutenant, I said, if you take that call, I'll take this call. I started acting as I was the lieutenant, you know. So the next thing I know, the sheriff called me and they said, since they said you the lieutenant, I'm going to promote you to lieutenant on night shift. So fine. During the period of time that I was there also, the chief deputy, the sheriff became ill with cancer. And the chief deputy decided he wanted to work nights. So that means that he put me on day shift, and him and the other lieutenant didn't get along. He said, now you run my job. So as a lieutenant, been there about 6 years, I started functioning as, in his position, during the day, signing people different jobs and stuff like that. So when the sheriff died, what happened was that we were getting ready to build a new justice center, the Justice Center in Opelika. And the chief deputy decided he didn't want to be a part of it because they weren't going to build it where he wanted to be, where he wanted it at. So I just got off work one night, and they called me and said, the committee in charge of building the Justice Center want to go to Atlanta and we need somebody from the sheriff's department to go with them. Can you go with them? I get up, I get dressed, I ride to Atlanta, spend a whole day up there with the chief jailer in Atlanta at Fulton County Jail. So we ended up coming back to laying the foundation. So during the period of time we were constructing in the jail, the sheriff was sick, so I ended up going to all the meetings, sketching out everything for the jail, for the Justice Center, for the sheriff's department and stuff. And then when the sheriff passed away, we got another sheriff in, whose wife ended up being a lieutenant in charge of administration, because the chief deputy thought he was going to be lieutenant, to be the sheriff. And me, him, and the sheriff, the lieutenant that who became the sheriff, sat in there and wrote his resume to send to Paul James. And for some reason the thing was all messed up, so she said, I said, you need to retype this right here. She said, okay, I'll retype. He said, no, just send it to him, he knows who I am. You know. So I got a call about 2 weeks later and said, "Can you work for Homer Chaplin?" And that's who became sheriff, his wife. So I had to set in a meeting with the sheriff, the chief deputy, and his wife, where the chief deputy telling him that he didn't present his wife. So you know what happened? He fired him. Told me to take him home and get his car keys and stuff and get his uniform. And the chief deputy told me if he want this badge and uniform, he need to come get it because I ain't gonna give it to you. Take the car. So when he was buried last year, he still had his badge and chief deputy on when they were, because this present sheriff let him be buried in his uniform.
Okay.
So after the sheriff was there for a while, we spent the first 3 months. I never go home until 8 or 9 o'clock because me and him sat in the office and went out to eat at a place called Quincy every night, so he can learn about the sheriff department. So when it came down, I said, I don't know who's gonna be chief deputy, so I'm gonna make 2 captains. He promoted me and this other lieutenant that had showed me my picture to captains, and then shakedown one night, and he mistreated the prisoners, so he told me, you got the jail plus other things, and he didn't like it, so he quit, and next thing I know, I was promoted to major in 1983 as chief deputy, and been chief deputy ever since. And I retired in 2011, and when I they laughing because in 2011 when I retired, I had 40 years, and the sheriff told me, he told me, said, well, he told everybody at my retirement department, said he retired, but he's not leaving.
Him and Jay John been like that for
You know,
years.
because I said, huh?
Still cool.
He said, yeah. He said, you still got your office, you still have your vehicle, you can make X number of dollars a year as a retiree, and you still got your position. So I goes up to my office, I sit there, and I counsel the new officers now. I help them, put the budget together and look at figures and stuff. So I've been doing that ever since 2011, still doing it and stuff. So it's been a blessing. My wife like it because she throw me out the house and listen to it.
There you go, see? Retirement still can leave that.
I've been blessed in a way because I hired the present sheriff that we had. I hired the chief deputy we had. I hired every captain that we had. Matter of fact, I just had a captain I just hired, retired Friday.
Oh, wow.
So I really, I always say God had a calling for me. I always say that, if we just follow our calling, that we're gonna be all right. So for 52 years I've been in law enforcement, and like I said, never pulled my weapon on anybody, never had to fire, but I had to talk my way out of something.
I can't wait till the next question.
I'll tell you this story, then I'll be through. We used to have a club called the Jaguar Club up on the north end. 2 girls were fighting, and I get there. And I arrested one, and the one I arrested ended up scratching me and had a whole bunch of perfume on her, right?
You came home with all the
And I get home, and my wife looking at me with all these scratches, smelling like perfume. You know what the heck I've been into. Dana, I ain't done I was in a fight. So you know where I slept at that night, don't you?
The couch.
Literally on the couch. I mean, I was scratched up.
What the freak you were doing, man?
But that's the way things worked out over those years. So it's been an up and down things. We done had a bunch of murders and stuff like that. We had the camper murder, which some people got killed on the camp up here. Years ago.
Deliver the baby.
Yeah.
Didn't want to do that no more.
Now, one more story. We had an ambulance service back in the day, right? We had 2 ambulances, and this private owned ambulance service. They supposed to have been called out before we got the call. I get down there, and the ambulance wasn't there. We laid in labor. And we had just finished a course, an EMT course on how to deliver babies and stuff. And I'm saying, now that's
Oh,
Lord, how about the
scared.
other definitely disappeared with me.
He said,
He
oh.
left the room, so I'm sitting there. I said, can y'all get me some water?
Hey.
They got me some water. I said, I need 2 strings, you know, and some scissors. Oh, I said, baby coming. I said, brother ambulance. I said, baby, the ambulance ain't gonna show up. All of a sudden, here come my head. I'm sitting there, I said, Lord, how much? Finally,
Gotta do it.
I get the baby out. I cut the cord, and take him, clean him up a little bit, and give him to the lady that's sitting on the side. The lady just sitting over there looking at me. Then I had to do the other part and stuff. They told her to wrap it in newspaper and send it
Never
off to
gonna
them.
happen.
And so I said, and
Yeah,
make it
for
so
Santa.
bad. I get home that same day. It was on a Friday, so I get home that Saturday. My wife's in there cleaning chitlins.
And you
Of
don't
all
want no
stuff.
nigga.
Out of all things, cleaning chitlins. And I refused to eat a chitlin the day I stopped eating chitlin then.
After you saw that utility cord,
I stopped eating chitlins then.
you do know what chitlins are.
I said. But now next time they got a call about delivering a baby, I made sure the ambulance was in front of me. We delivered that together. I made sure they did that one because So those are some of the things that we had to deal with back in the day because we didn't have,
I told y'all he could talk.
in the 70s and the 80s, we didn't have everything that they have now, like the ambulance and paramedics and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Myself and a guy named John Dunn that used to work at Auburn, he delivered the first baby by a policeman. He was a black officer,
Yeah.
delivered one over, up here at the end of Donahue. He delivered that, and he delivered 2 more. Between me and him, I think they started, and I had to sign the birth certificate. Somebody run around with me.
What's your name on it?
Dr. Talk.
Protect and serve, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
That's
He did the serving on that one.
we served a lot.
I'm sorry.
But that's the way, you know. Plus, we was in charge of all serving all civil papers and dealing with things, evicting people and stuff. Some of the
Yeah, I
roughest
have to
time
edit that.
that you had though was when you had to evict somebody that had kids. And
It's so hard.
You did everything you had to do to try to get those kids somewhere else
Yeah,
and try to work with them.
heartbreaking.
I'm sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Yeah.
you're fine.
I was gonna tell her, they didn't have the number come on here and let you start talking. They didn't have to write no questions down.
Yeah, they do.
Go ahead, yeah, I'm sorry.
Could you tell us a little bit about your what it was like growing up near a predominantly white university like Auburn?
Well, it was quiet. I put
Yeah.
it that way. It was always
We went
quiet.
over there.
I was able to use the university for. Mama was working for this person that knew a professor at Auburn that had something to do with speech. Like I said, I had a speech impediment. So his office was located in Sanford Hall at the time. So he made arrangement for me and Mama to be able to take me over there, but she couldn't take me till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he took me over there and he started working with me to help me improve my speech, so, which did help a whole lot. One of the things he had me do that I didn't mind doing was reading comic books out loud. He said, "What you like?" I said, "Comic books." He said, "I want you to start reading them out loud, doing things like that." Now, as far as going over to the university, we never go there for anything really. People
Except
just go
me.
to the football games.
When I was in
Football
10th
game.
grade, I used to go there to the library. Because we had one library downtown at Drake. And that library was, didn't have that much in it. And so the library downtown was right down from Auburn Bank. And so it was kind of limited. So I would just go on over there to Auburn University Library, to the drone library. I'd be the only black person over there, but I'll walk on over there and walk on in.
Now,
You
the
know,
only
but I needed some help though. They would help me, find something if I was looking for it.
now, one
But
thing
I
we
wouldn't.
did do, though,
I'd be the only black one over there. But I wasn't afraid. I just didn't have sense to be afraid of you. The doors was open, so I just go over there and do my research.
Thing about it, when it came to our baseball teams, we had limited funds and stuff, so I forgot who the baseball coach was over at Auburn University. But we used to go there and they had an arrangement that whenever they cracked the bat, they would give it to us, and we would end up taking tape
And take
and putting tape around it and taping up and using that bat until it broke. So we used to go there and pick up some bats and they had some balls that we could get from them and stuff like that.
just use the resources that we had.
Yeah.
Was that common for y'all to get a lot of the stuff at the white teams or like white schools
Yeah.
Yeah.
and like kind of like hand-me-downs?
Yeah.
Yeah. For football uniforms and stuff like that. And Auburn High got new stuff. We may get some of their pads, stuff like that. Matter of fact, only thing that we got new most of the time was our basketball uniform. Football uniform, we got the jerseys new, because a lot of the pants and stuff came from other schools, it was from the university. We got a lot of equipment from the university cases and stuff, or something here and that, something that they weren't using and stuff. Mr. Bene was our football coach, and he used to be able to go there and get certain things.
What are some of the values that your parents taught you that you still use today?
Respect.
Respect,
Yeah.
honesty, hard work.
Yeah.
You gonna work for what you get.
That's right.
She used to, cause
Nothing
we would
comes
love.
free.
You know nothing free. If you want something, if you got to work
Yeah,
for
for
it,
it.
you
Or
do without
you
it. You
get-
can't.
there you
You
go.
can't be caught. You can't steal. I do not eat. I do not chew juice fruit gum today because I was about 12, and so we were in the other house, and Mom had this great big pack of gum. And it was in the kitchen drawer, so I got it one day, and I just went out there and with all my friends, we just had a good time. And so she asked me when it came from work, did I get it? And I told her no.
Ooh.
Boy, I got the worst whipping in the world.
don't do
And
that.
she told me, she said, I didn't whip you because you got the gum, but you got it and you lied about it. So when you lied about it, that means you stole it. And I won't have no thief in my house. And I do. And look, that's been 60-something years ago, and I don't chew jug up that juicy fruit. But you couldn't take something that didn't belong to you. You had to have respect. You had to work for what you
That's
got.
it.
I mean, because when we were growing up, we had chores to do. You know, we got an allowance, but we still had to have chores to do.
Things,
And
you know?
those are the values that we. And
And I
then,
think that is still
and you'll never get too old to learn.
Yes.
Always, that's why we got
every
that's why we got
day.
reading from. We used to read a lot because our teacher used to tell us you can travel all over the world through a
I've
book.
been somewhere everywhere.
And we all love books.
Yes.
They do.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
man.
daughter love books. I mean,
Yes,
my son, and he's a history buff. He
Oh,
loves
God,
history.
yes.
The only
So,
thing I used to read was history, but my mother taught me not to lie too. I lie about my delusions.
Our
My mother-
glasses.
My mother just paid over $100 for a pair of glasses.
And that's a lot of
Now,
money.
Yeah,
when
it
I was
was
about
your
in the
glasses.
5th grade, back then, that was
Mel
lot.
lied
the
about
whole
his
check.
trumpet.
This he
Oh,
that's
I lost my glasses. She said, "Where your glasses at, son?" I said, "They're over grandma's house." Well, go there and
that's
get 'em.
next door now.
Oh, well, I go
You know
down,
you don't know
I
how
go
to
down.
lie.
I
That was so dumb.
would spend 30 minutes over there just sitting around.
Tell
I
like
come-
you could find some
Yeah, I
place.
come back. So why your
No
glasses
lie.
at? Mama, I lost them at school.
You learn not to
Um,
lie.
You know, I don't know if you can't see them now, but they low now. But back in the back, used to be some head bushes about tall as that house, about tall as that door right there.
And just tell them about
And
your switches.
she said, "Boy, go out there and give me 3 switches." I said, "Oh Lord."
So you know they're gonna be planted together.
So she sat there
Can't
just
lie.
quiet, stripped all of them, flattered them. She said, "Boy, I'm gonna tell you something. You don't never tell me another lie." I said, "Ma'am?" I said, "Well, I'm telling you the truth now."
Just do
You
that.
lie.
It was too late then. I
Yeah.
got my. That's the last whooping. No, that's second to the last whooping I got caught. The last whooping I got caught. Grandma got me in a whooping cause that calf. We used to raise a calf every summer. The one that had the dairy, if she had a bull calf, she would let us have it. So she'd give it to us, and I'd take him across the street over there where these apartments that over in the corner, and let him graze over there. And that thing got to running, drove me, and I fell, and I said 2 curse words. And my grandmama heard me. She said, yes,
Big
that
mama.
boy said this and said
Big
that.
mama said.
But don't whoop him though, because
Yeah,
he
but you gonna tell
apologized. She said, yes, ma'am, and she said, next thing I know, I done went to the
Can't use
bathroom, and I
bed,
should have
that's-
never went to the bathroom. Because you got me caught in that bathroom. I done cussed for a long time, and I done lied for a long time. But
But that's
Yeah.
what she taught us.
back in the day,
Not to
We
lie.
have to-
back in the day, they don't do it this day and time.
True.
But when we were growing up, it wasn't nothing to get a spanking by a switch or a belt. Now my dad and I,
He went.
he
Bless
Never
his
hit
soul.
you.
he had a little razor strap here coming. That's a tap, tap, tap.
And mom just get mad with it.
And one
Oh,
day,
he would
mama,
beat the bed.
and one day, mama caught him in that tap, tap, tap.
Daddy didn't do
And
stuff.
that's the last time he did tap, 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 cause he said, I'll take care of that. Cause dad was always like love to talk about, he'd talk to you about things and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, he didn't believe in spanking.
But
No.
mama was
You had
raised-
one
raised
that
up-
halfway kid and the other one
We
gonna talk you
didn't. We
to
didn't
death.
have everything we wanted, but we always had
Yeah.
everything we needed.
Yeah,
You know,
as far
But if it
as-
was some
as far as
special occasion or something, you know, we get
Yeah.
different things and stuff.
Respect,
like that. But
respect is more
but
than
respect
anything. It's
is
just
the
like, it's
main
just like
thing.
now, I tell
Yeah.
all the deputies, in order to gain respect, you got to give
Respect.
So
There you go.
when you out there, you respect the person that you're approaching, and he would
Yes.
approach you the same way. Now, if he want to act a fool, when you act
Yes.
a fool and he stop acting a fool, you stop acting a fool and start giving him respect. Now, because if you don't, you got to see me, and I hate to take money from you, and I hate to see you go home for 3 or 4 days. But you know, I think everybody
I
must
mean,
learn
believe it or
at
not,
least,
respect will take you a long way.
you know. And I said, now if people start respecting each other and caring and showing that helping attitude, like you're supposed to help someone, get opportunity to
Yeah.
help.
I
You
think
know, don't stand by and don't give somebody
that you
a
can't get out.
hand
Because I
up when
think-
they need it.
Me is broken.
yeah. So we can go in
Yeah.
Your granddaughter says she about to get back to her dorm.
And you tell my granddaughter she better not leave that before I leave that.
That was her.
But that's
call.
what she was saying. She was gonna leave. She coming back, and I was gonna go move to the other car because
Okay, you go ahead and tell.
I forgot.
It's okay.
I told you I would have to be
I forgot
editing
my
all
granddaughter
kinds of
goes
stuff.
to school at all.
Auburn too.
She live over there in North I hate it.
It's her first year.
Go over there
Get
and
up
walk
front.
all the way over there.
One more question. What were your teachers like?
Like parents.
Yeah,
That
They
makes
just-
it.
they taught you basic. You had learning skills, but then they taught you basic stuff like respect too. Because we had my French teacher. She was an English teacher too, and she would have the guys, showing them how to be gentlemen. So if they coming in the classroom, they had to hold the door for the girls, and then she would teach girls how to sit properly. You had to be gentlemen and young ladies. They were like parents, and so.
They're parents, but
you didn't get in
they
trouble.
really made you study, made you get
Oh
your
yeah,
education.
because I had one teacher. I was afraid to get a B in her class. I made A's in her class all the time because I made a B one time and she told me, and she called me out in class. Yeah, you could have did better than this, and I was so ashamed. I studied hard. I never did make another B in her class. I made all A's, so I was in the National Honor Society. So but I like to study the way I always did.
I had one basketball coach that was just almost like a brother to me. Matter of fact, every Sunday he
Mama
used to
door
come-
was always open to everybody. That's the way I am now. So like you said, like after you see, I feed to everybody. If I cook dinner, you come in, just come on in. That's why I keep plenty to go places. Because that's the way I am. I don't meet strangers. And when you come to my house, you got to feel comfortable. That's just the way I am.
Mr. Patterson, one of the coaches that I had at the time, he took me to my first college basketball game. Alabama State was playing Grambling. He took me and a guy named Roy Torbert, not related, George C. Willis, and picked up his girlfriend that was living in Montgomery. And we went to a basketball game and watched Grambling play. And Mama was working at the cafeteria at that time, and every Sunday he came over to the house and had dinner with us, and made sure that I did what I was supposed to do on that basketball court, and made sure. And the one thing I didn't want to do that he made me do, made all of us do, was take modern dancing. I mean, you know, we out there with swim trunks on and things, with all these girls out here taking modern dancing during the summer. But he said it helped our agility. But but when it came down to classroom work, they stayed on us. They made sure we understood exactly what we were studying. Even my science teacher, my chemistry teacher, she said, I'm having some professors come over and judge a science fair that we had. And I said, okay. So I found this book about gasoline, you know, about ethyl and all the three types of gasoline, and I was just gonna do that project. And I ended up doing it, writing a report up and stuff like that. This one going faster than this one more economic than this one. And I ended up winning the fair. But that was because she stayed on there, made me realize that I could do it. And the thing about it, back then though, they cared about you. You know. Yeah, if I got on you in school today, your parents knew about it before you got home.
Yeah, because you went to school to learn. Not to get in
If I
trouble.
acted up in class,
So that's what we always told our kids. That's your job, going to school. I tell my grandkids that, well, that's your job, is going to school.
you know,
And I forgot to tell you another thing when we were out here integrating and everything. Tom Milligan, the guy that I was telling you about, he had a friend that came from Madison, Wisconsin. Her name was Kitty Payne, and she was in her early 20s. And but Tom had gotten kicked out the door, and so I think he was staying with his aunt then, but she didn't have enough room for Kitty, and Kitty, so Kitty stayed with us. My mama said, that's a young lady, she not gonna come down here and nobody gonna bother her. And so she stayed in the room with me up there at that house. We had twin beds there, so Kitty stayed with us about a month. So that's
and one thing
don't just
about-
open this. Mama's gonna protect this young white girl. She wasn't gonna get hurt down here and all helping us.
One thing about it, whenever someone spent the night, when my sister them had somebody spend the night, I was always on the other side somewhere. Ain't no man. You ain't got time. You ain't got no time to be looking at them girls and talking to them girls around here.
No,
Talking about
you're gonna be protected.
like one of my church members used to spend the night over there, and she was telling the pastor the other day. She said, I used to go there and spend. I didn't know Darren had a brother for a long time.
They're pet.
Yeah.
We met when we were 5.
I tell you,
Yeah.
I know y'all got some more questions now. I'm ready. I'm on the roll now. So no.
Well, I was thinking we're gonna call it quits after that last little segment.
All right. But if
If
you
that's
need
all
it,
right with y'all.
That's fine.
that's
That's just up to y'all. Do you think?
I don't run